So the goal was to really do some classes on prayer. And one thing was because they had already a bit about prayer here, but more important is that, after 20 years, I'm still working on learning how to pray and getting excited about prayer.
That's tough.
It is very tough, and if I would ask you, when is the last time you actually run to shul to daven? I don't know if there was the first time even, right? Right? When's the last time you actually run to shul to daven?
It was raining.
Well, okay. So yeah, you have the rain can be a good, but like being excited like a kid who is running to shul, right? Or the truth, if you had something like the Beit HaMikdash, you might run. Like the Kohen Gadol is starting the service, you don't want to miss it, right? But we don't realize, and the Gemara actually says that when there's a specific time right in shul, the Shekhinah is waiting there already for you to come. The Shekhinah is there even before you come. So you have to see how it fits to the you need 10 people to have the Shekhinah. But basically, there is the concept of God is waiting for you. And we need the first 10 there, get a special merit for being there. We're going to speak about that today also a bit. So the question is, okay, why are we not excited about prayer? And why we don't run to shul? It's part of halakha, which is the regular way how we should behave as human beings. Regular way, I don't like to say regular way. Halakha is to break our natural ways, and there's a book written by Rabbi Cardozo called Halakha as a rebellion. The rebellion of the Jew, so to speak, meaning that halakha is here to rebel against the norms of society and help you transcend them so that you really see the difference between a Jew and the Mitzrayim of society, whatever society wants you to make out of you. So I believe that today, there is a lot of different mitzvot that are important, and the Rambam is quoted saying that everybody has a big mitzvah to work on, specific mitzvah that is connected to, and there's a lot of famous rabbis, the Arizal, I think it comes from the Arizal, who said that every generation has a specific mitzvah to work on. And I've heard different things from different rabbis, what the mitzvah of this generation. I think the Arizal had said it was tzitzit. No, this generation. At his time, it was Tefilah. It was Tefilah. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't remember. It was. I think his start was tzitzit anyway.
I heard Tefilah, so even more so in our generation.
Right. Also imagine Tefilah. Anyway, I definitely think that I didn't always think that way, but I really think that the mitzvah that we need to focus on in our generation is Tefilah, prayer. In today's generation, it is prayer is it's something that has to reach a level, as King David said himself, Vani Tefilah. It's not like I'm going to pray. It is Vani Tefilah. I am prayer. I became prayer. What do you mean you became prayer? It's very strange. There's a book, Bilvavi Mishkan Evne, that speaks about the world of prayer. That the world of prayer is, it's a whole different. About that. Yes, thank you very much. And that we need really to be aware that there's so many different levels of prayer that we have to work on. So prayer is so hard. It's something. What's the biggest thing you do all the time, every day of your life? Is to pray as a requirement of the Jewish life, right? It's what we do the most. What does a Jew do most in his life as a religious thing? You might say eating, or studying. For someone who is studying, but someone who is not studying, It's praying. So it's not studying all day, right? Like a kollel or even a little bit at night. But even that, it falls short to a whole day of prayer in Yom Kippur, a whole day of praying supplication on Tisha B'Av, and every Yom Tovim we have 3-4 hour prayer, long hours of long prayer in the morning, and we pray every day 3 times a day. So this is what we do the most as Jews. If you can't get excited about prayer or connect to your prayer, then you are almost putting to the garbage your Jewish connection. Not in the sense that you're rejecting it, in the sense that there's so much potential there, and there's so much you can do, there's so much you can connect, and that's what you do the most. You're gonna miss out. You're not gonna enjoy really being Jewish. Let's put it that way. Since most of the thing you do as a Jew is prayer, if you don't enjoy prayer, you're not gonna enjoy being Jewish. And there's a lot of kids who go and drop Judaism because they don't understand what I'm saying. They don't connect to prayer. So if I don't connect, what do people do? They go to shul. So, I don't go to shul, so I'm not considered religious. I'm not connected to God. So, there's no point for me. It's not my thing. Prayer is not my thing, right? But it's like saying, marriage is not my thing. Eating is not my thing. It's not really understanding the importance of prayer and how essential it is to our lives. So what I want to do is try to, over the coming few weeks, really go into prayer, really get to understand why we pray, why is it so important, why it is powerful, why it can be exciting, how can you make it more exciting? And not only that, you have to understand that the world is changing. It's not just a Jewish thing anymore, so to speak. And even the terms that we use, prayer has become almost like a Christian thing. Tefilah, and meditation. Meditation is as it used to be more like for Buddhism or Eastern religions. We have to understand that now the whole world is changing perspective. I could speak for an hour about it, but all over the world, non-Jews and Jews, they're starting meditating, joining groups, little groups there. They had a few months ago, or it was last month, I forgot, 1 million, I don't know where it was, Indians, or it was in Thailand or India, and I forgot which one, but 1 million kids who gathered together to meditate for world peace. 1 million kids, you understand what it is? Meaning all the schools from, I think it was Thailand, all the schools from Thailand, they all brought all the kids to understand it's really important, it really works, it affects us. There's also Prince EA, right? This is the importance of how schools now start to implement meditation at the beginning of class, and it's becoming universal more and more. So we have to realize that it's something that it's changing. We realize that there are more classes and advertising of the need for human beings to meditate. As a Jew, meditation is Tefilah. The problem is that we have disconnected Tefilah from meditation and meditation from Tefilah, and we have made Tefilah to be, reading from a book. And Rabbi Eli Munk in the World of Prayer says we don't know anymore how to pray. That's what he said. And he wrote that 150 years ago. We have lost the art of prayer, how to pray. Just, you want to say something?
Yes, just mentioned about the kids praying. One question, if somebody's not Jewish, in that case, let's say a million kids try to pray, but they pray to their own God, that's even for good, so the peace.
Right.
Some of that heard, that these are the...
Oh, so a very good question. So we know that every nation has an angel. This is the Gemara says. We have...
If let's say some people pray GC and stuff like that, is there any point of that? Or?
There is a point. Yes, because there's something called positive energy and negative energy. If you pray for something good in the world, even if you're not praying to God directly, it still has an impact in the world. People might call it karma or aura or energies, or we know according to science, and we're going to speak about that later on also. I don't know if this time we'll have time to cover it, but that we now calculate, we have the machines, the technology to be able to calculate and scan the brain and the words and things, and seeing the energy that goes out of us. We realize that what we do has an impact. So the world is changing, and we're going to a world that is more and more energy-based, energy-focused, in technology, in spirituality, and we have to do our work so that we go along with that evolution, so to speak. That's the real evolution, not that we turn into a smaller head or bigger head like E.T. because I think I have a bigger head because they have a huge intelligence. I have a small head. I'm pretty smart. But the idea is that the world is evolving. It's not about going from the monkey to the human being or things like that. It's how we are becoming more spiritual. And we are very close to the end of time. When Moshiach is going to come, we're going to reach a level of where we understand Baruch Shamar V'Hayaolam, Abracadabra. I speak as I create. God speaks and things happen. I speak and things happen. That's the level that we want to reach. And all the classes that we're going to try to do are going to be part of that journey on to really get to trust into your power of speech. And more than that is discovering the Siddur, because we really don't know the Siddur. Let me ask you a few questions. And don't feel bad if you don't know. I didn't know myself, and I think most people don't know. What is the climax of prayer? What's the climax, the highest point of the entire prayer? What do you think it is? Yeah, which moment in the prayer is the highest moment where you should feel you're the closest to God? That's the everything you prayed before was to reach that moment.
Amida. Yeah.
Okay, good. So in the Amida, where in the Amida?
And
Actually, there are two places technically you say. I'm thinking of
Would it be in the very beginning?
It's one of the Amida.
Yeah.
I guess I could hear about, according to one opinion, yes, because that's the first bracha with Avram is the only one that you're required, according to the Chachamim, to have full intent, to have your rest of your Shemona Esrei being, working, so that it be accepted as a prayer. But there's a moment where it's supposed to, and to give you a hint of how I found out, not that I found out, I recognize that this is the place, is what is the moment where you're not allowed to speak, to answer amen, to say anything. You have to interrupt everything for that moment. Like when you say Kaddish, you're not supposed to talk when you say Kaddish. If you pray, you should just say Yehi Shem Rabba, but you're allowed to answer Yehi Shem Rabba. What moment you cannot say?
I thought even if you want that you're supposed to answer the issue about.
No, never. If you're in the Amida, you never answer anything. Never answer anything. But you're getting closer. If you're in the Amida, what's the only time that you're allowed to not answer, but to stay silent? You're required to stay silent and wait. No? What is it? No. No. It's halakha, guys. It's halakha. It's when you say kedusha, chazar sashas, kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. If you hear kadosh, 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 from Nagdishach until Kela kadosh, you hear it. You're in the middle of Shemona Esrei or doing anything. You have to stop. You stop everything and you have to listen to it if you're in Shemona Esrei. If you're not in Shemona Esrei, then you answer.
But so if you in the middle Shemona Esrei and you do Adisha, you have to stop and you have to repeat also.
Yeah, you stay quiet and you listen the whole thing. You don't.
Do you repeat?
No, you don't say anything.
You don't say Adisha, you don't say the verse.
No, you cannot say. I mean, because we have to understand when we are in the Shemona Esrei, you are face to face with God. It's like you're in a private meeting with God. Nothing. Why would you say, "Holy, holy is God"? You're speaking to Him, right? But because that moment is so, and one of the classes we're going to learn why this moment is so crucial. Why is the climax? Already that you know there's a climax. That's the highest, right?
And when can you go back to it again?
So when they say Hakel HaKadosh at the end of the bracha itself, then you continue. There's another moment where I just realized now, according to the Ramchal and Kabbalah V'Arizal, no, is when I say Amevach et Amo Yisrael b'Shalom. When I say Shalom, there's a whole thing of that's the complete final unity. Everything is at peace. Everything is one, which is connected a bit to Kadosh, but the Kedusha.
So is Kedusha, when we say that, is it the highest point in the sequence after we have our personal Shemona Esrei and then we have the Shemona Esrei of the Tzibor?
Yes.
So in terms of the timeline of prayer.
Yeah, it's after your personal prayer, and it's challenging. What is greater, your personal prayer or the prayer you do with the Klal?
Probably Klal, no?
So the Arizal says the Chazaras Hashatz has more power, it's more important than your personal prayer. And people don't know that. Everybody's focusing on his personal prayer, and when comes the idea after that, amen, right? You're like looking at books, you're like, right, walking out, going. It is even more important than your personal prayer. Why? Well, we speak about it, but the simple answer is because we are as a team. Well, why do you come pray in shul with others? When you pray on your own, you and God, okay. But the fact that you go to the king, you go alone, okay, it can have an impact. You all go to the team as French Revolution. Ooh, the king, whatever. You go as a team to the king, it's going to have a strong impact. If you have just one guy saying, okay, that's another guy thinks he's Moshiach. But we all come together for a union, exactly. That's why praying in shul is so important. And we're just reading, in Shulchan Aruch, they say a prayer that is done b'tzibur, as a group, is never rejected. It's always heard. Now it can be yes or no. It's always heard. It's always heard. So it's important to know that. So that was just an example of the many things. Another example why nobody says Tikkun Chatzot. We know it's for holy people, but you can say a little thing about Tikkun Chatzot. Maybe a little thing about. Do you ever pray for Jerusalem to be rebuilt? I mean, we say in Shema Yisrael, but personally, do you have a personal prayer like? Okay, Bekel Amazon. What if you don't eat bread that day? But do you have a thing? See, God, my heart is crushed that I don't live in Eretz Yisrael right now. Right?
A part of me feels like, I love Israel, but I don't know what it means to have Jerusalem built on the level of Jerusalem being built.
Yes, well, that's true. Otherwise,
the rabbis describe Jerusalem was this place, I can see as it is now, it's a wonderful place. You go in and it's like, it really reveals the real you. But I don't see it on that level of the way the Shemona Esrei says and how Jerusalem built and Mashiach, it's a little bit too.
It is. So yeah, and so that's what we want to try to reach, is to make everything reachable. We should feel when you say Bonei Yerushalayim, it should pain you that you're not there and you're not putting a brick on the wall. You want to be there. How real is our prayer to us? I'll give just one last example. Why do you have, for example, after Baruch She'amar, right? Why do you have Mizmor LeTodah right after? Why that psalm? Why not any other psalm? Why do you have Mizmor Todah before Baruch Shema?
Why not?
I don't know why. Why this order? Right? And I'm asking that, like, you have 5 Hallelujah. Why do you start with the Ashrei first and the other one? Why is Az Yashi at the end of Sukkot Zima? Right? Why is the order like that? Why do you have Shema before Shema? I think Shema is the ultimate. You say, Shema, I'm one with God. I'm ready to die. I'm one with God. Maybe that's the climax. That should be the end. That's beyond Shemona Esrei. Why Shemona Esrei is more important than Shema? So Shema should be after Shemona Esrei. You see, like, and there's so many things. And why do you have to say all those things? Just say Shema and Shemona Esrei. That's the main thing. Why do you have to say all the rest? By the time I reach Shema and Shemona Esrei, I'm already like exhausted of all the things I have to say, right? So we are almost fooling ourselves. Like, why are we doing what we are doing? Why we are not asking? The Yetzer Hara, this is the strategy of the Satan. The Yetzer Hara is doing everything for you to be the most religious guy. Just read it. Just say everything and read it, and if you're going to do it, and he's very happy. The moment you start asking, why am I saying that? It bothers him. No, go shake, go just read. Go, you have to say everything. The Chazal says in the Shulchan Aruch, it's better to say less words with kavanah than a lot of words without. It's halacha, right? We understand that we have to understand that when you are touching about something that is crucial for your Avodat Hashem, something that's crucial to become really, really close to Hashem, the Yetzer Hara is going to do everything for you to miss what's the most important thing to work on. And in our generation, even more so with technology, where we have phones, we have our mind is good. Everybody is ADHD. We need picture, images, sound, and now you're for an hour in front of a book. No, you go crazy. You need to do a page like as if it's a movie. 24 frames per second. How much it is? 24 pages per second. And now it's exciting. So unless we learn to really stop and analyze, okay, what am I doing? What am I saying? Stop, relax, pause, and start asking why. Don't take things for granted. Why we said this before this? Why am I saying what I'm saying? Why is the Siddur put that way? That structure. It was made by. You understand that the Siddur is the most Kabbalistic book ever written. It was written by prophets, by the Anshe Knesset Agdola, the highest, greatest mind, right? You remember in Pirkei Avot, you have Moshe, I'm losing Moshe. Yoshua received from Moshe at Har Sinai, right? Les Ekenim, les Nevim, and then after the Anshe Knesset Agdola, right? So there was a transmission straight of things. And the Siddur was written by Anshe Knesset Agdola. They were the highest after the prophets, and some of them were prophets. Mordechai Tzaddik was one of the last of the Anshe Knesset Agdola, and he was part of that. And they did the Siddur. So everything here is the code, and it's a reason why they put in place. It was not random. Oh, this sounds good. Praying for love of, some places it says about God feeds the birds. Oh, it's beautiful. God feeds the birds. And who else is going to feed the birds? Yeah, God feeds the birds. Why? Why do you have to say that? Oh, yeah, it's very romantic, very poetic. It's very poetic. But come on, we're trying to, I have problems. I have my wife and my kids, and I have to go work, and I have, deal with the business deal. I have to be honest. Like, what's the God feeds the birds? Like, how is that going to help me? Thank you, God, for feeding the birds. Can you feed me too? Right? So we're trying to say, okay, what are we saying? We have to be real. We have to be real. We have to God make real. And very often I like to, tell people, let's not send a kid to pray for us. There's a reason why sometimes we send a kid, bar mitzvah, 14, 15. A lot of them really believe that it's the God, and when they pray, God is listening to them. But it's not the same as someone who is, chazan, as a chazan. It's not the same as someone who really has a depth understanding of prayer and knows how to, because most of the kids don't really understand what they're saying yet. So they pray for the heart, with the heart. It might be better than someone praying not from the heart and just, reading. But the real chazan is the chazan that knows how to speak to God. He understands why we're saying that. And when he says, ask God for refuah, right? For example, Refainu Hashem v'nerafeh. So we say, Refainu Hashem v'nerafeh, Amen. Right? Right? So this is how you speak to God. You wouldn't even speak like that to a doctor. How do you speak to a doctor? Please heal my son. Please. Right? So you're speaking to God who can do anything. So, like, you have to feel talking to them. And most of us, I know because I was chazan for a long time, especially at the beginning, you're just making sure that you don't make a mistake, that everybody is listening to you, that you're not going to say instead of oh, and that you don't want to look like a fool in front of everybody. You're so focused on your reading and reading perfectly, you don't even remember that you're praying to God, right? So it is challenging, and we have to learn to deal with those things and to do the same in our own personal prayer with God. So I know it's a lot of the outside, but I think it's so important to start with that awareness about what are we lacking, that we're really having a problem here. We really need to work on prayer, and that this is an essential thing. Again, at Shlosha Dvarim Haolam Omed, on three things the world stands, right? It says Rav Shimon in Pirkei Avot, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. Torah is learning Torah. We all learn Torah. It's a different amount. It doesn't matter the quantity, but we all learn Torah. Avodah is prayer, and Gemilut Chasadim, it's working, doing Chesed, working on your character traits, being good, praying good the good. Those are three foundations. If you have a three foundation, and one is lacking, it falls, it crumbles. If you don't have a strong Tefilah foundation, you might be learning Torah and working on yourself. Your world of connection, it doesn't work. Because it is essential to connect to God for your life to run, to flow. And maybe if I really knew how to pray well, my life will be much smoother. You understand that Tefilah is a tool for emunah. If you have a good prayer, a good Tefilah in the morning, your day is completely different. It's completely different. You feel connected. And one of the things that it says in the Gemara, Brachos, how do you know your prayer was heard, or that God really connected to your prayer? Because it flows. So even when you pray, from the way you're praying, if Hashem is really paying attention to your prayer. If you're praying and it flows, and you realize that God is actually paying attention to your prayer, how do you feel about yourself? God really loves me, right? It's the real thing. So we have to realize what an opportunity we have, and the way, and we should not have in mind. I used to tell my wife, I have to go down. I have to go pray. I don't say that anymore. Well, I try not to. Say, I want to go pray. I need to go pray. I need it. I need for myself. I want to. It's not that I have to. Okay, of course, we all have to, because it's a commandment. But is it the way you feel it, that you have to? Or you want it that it has to be like Avraham, who is the one who made Shacharit become something right? Tiken Shlosha Tefilot. Avot. The Avot, they established those three, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shacharit, Mincha, Mariv. So they understood that this has to be part of someone's life. This is something I need for myself, that the world needs. So it has to be something that I want, I desire. And the moment you desire to do something, it's a whole different. I have to tell you that one thing because it's connected to that, and I find it so beautiful. Do you know why we put on tzitzit? Right now, why we have tzitzit? I'm actually tonight. Technically, you're not high, but why we put on tzitzit? That's true. I mean, you're either going in the reasoning, which is true, but you technically you don't need to wear tzitzit, right? When do you wear tzitzit? Only in 4 corners, right? How many people wear 4 corners? Mexicans when they have the poncho, right? Otherwise, like a very huge scarf. But so why do we do it? Why do we make ourselves crazy? Like it's my kids, they don't like it, it's boring, they want to play sport, they don't want to have the tzitzit. Like why do we make ourselves crazy with wearing tzitzit? You don't need to. So we take 4 corners, and now we take 4 corners, and we will put tzitzit on it because we can wear it. Like, so listen to that. For me, it was, and why is it that the meats, right? Yeah, right. You make it on purpose to make yourself, and you have to now, right? So, and what's the mitzvah of tzitzit? The mitzvah of tzitzit. What do we say? Uritem oto. We say in Shema Israel, the mitzvah of tzitzit, right? Uritem oto uzerachtem es kol mitzvot Hashem, right? And you're going to see the tzitzit, and you're going to be reminded of all the mitzvot, right, that a Jew has to do. Now, I don't know about you, but even when my Yetzirah kicks in, it don't help my tzitzit, don't help me so much. Sometimes it does. What it is about the tzitzit that really, if you have your tzitzit sticking out, it's going to prevent you from checking out the girl there. I don't think it works so well like that.
If somebody else is looking at you while you're checking the girl.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's the kippah. Put a hood, right? So yeah. So how does the mitzvah tzitzit actually help? Really, not forgetting, remembering. I'll tell you like that. Because you remember something you desire, something you want, you remember. And the tzitzit, what do we do with tzitzit? Say, I'm going to take a thing that I don't need to do, but I do it because I want that mitzvah. I want to be able to fulfill God's commandment, and therefore I'm going to take a 4-corner thing and put tzitzit on it to show you that I want it. Oh, you do a mitzvah that you want, you're going to remember it. So therefore, the commandments could be connected to the tefillin, maybe to the kippah, to the book. No, we connect the 613 commandments to the tzitzit. Why? Because this is a mitzvah you do out of desire for it. Oh, you desire that mitzvah? That's going to have impact. That's something that's going to make you remember things in life. When you want something, you remember. Right? You desire, it matters to you, you do it. So that's why specifically the mitzvah of tzitzit is the mitzvah that we use to remember all the mitzvot. So that's why we go our way. It's a mitzvah of love. Tzitzit, in the Rambam, the Mishneh Torah, there's the book of the Yisod Torah, where everyone, the book of Ahava, the book of Zmanim, the book of the 14 books, the book of Shoftim. So the book of Ahava, why has the book of Ahava in it? It has 8 mitzvot. One of the 8 mitzvot is the tzitzit. Because in the tzitzit you go out of your way, you're showing that you really want it. You love something, you show you going out of your way. So that's why we use that. So why did I say that? Because the only way you're gonna want or desire prayer, or like really want to pray, is if you want, you say, I want to go pray, not just I have to go pray. Saying I have to put on tzitzit goes against the whole mitzvah of tzitzit. Because tzitzit will go out of the way to make it that we want to put it on. Because technically you don't need to if you don't have 4 corners. Right? So Tefilah, especially more than other mitzvot, it has to be something we desire. That's what, it doesn't say that about any other mitzvah, I believe, that you have to run to do the mitzvah. All right, you have to be bezrizus, but specifically about prayer, it says you should run to shore, right? Specifically about prayers. Meaning it has to be something you want. If you don't desire, you're not going to connect to God. It has to be something that you want, not something, okay. So that's the point. So we have to reach a level, a madriga, where we enjoy prayer, where we understand what you're saying. So the first thing I always say, it's written in Shulchan Aruch, and it says in the Mishnah Berurah, you get the mitzvah of prayer if you pray in the language you understand. Actually, the Shulchan Aruch says, even for Shema Israel, when we say Shema Israel, if you don't understand in Hebrew, you're mechuyav to say it in English. It's an obligation, because you have to understand. If you speak to God and He's telling you, I love you, you have to understand what He's telling you. And understand what you're saying. You don't be a paparot, like just repeating things. If you say, I love you to your wife, she knows if you mean it or not. She knows it. So, I love you. Oh yeah, now you love me? So with Hashem, Kol Vachomer, Hashem knows, what's in your heart, He knows what you... Don't fake yourself. What are you saying? Be real. So the Shulchan Aruch goes out of his way. The Mishnah Berurah says the same thing. Chafetz Chaim says, if you say the Tefilah, the whole Tefilah, if you say Birkat Hamazon, if you say the Brachot, say Kiddush. Blessed are you, God, who blesses the fruit of the vine. You get the mitzvah. You don't have to say Baruch Hashem. Of course, we want to reach the madriga of saying in Hebrew. That's the highest, because the Lashon HaKodesh is nothing beyond that. But to say Lashon HaKodesh without the Kavanah at the expense of not understanding what you're saying, it's pasnish, like I say. It's not. So obviously, to say everything in English or in Russian or whatever your French, whatever language is the one you understand the best, the Yetzer Hara is not going to let you do that. It's too much. Because we're so used to, we need to flow. Otherwise, I'm going to be diving for 3 hours. I can't. I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm not on that level yet. But you take every day a little portion. You take the first part of Shema. You have to start with Shema, because Shema is it says Shulchan Aruch straight, that's the most important part to really understand what you're saying. So you start with Shema, the first paragraph, read it in English. And you should love your God with all your heart and with your whole soul and with your all your belongings, with everything. Right? You understand what you're saying? Or you have today, you have Outscroll, you have Sephardi Siddur, so here you have the translation right under. Use that. Hashem is making easier. Say, it's hard to just read. I'll put the word under it. Right next to it. Right? That's right. How much do I need to help you, do it? So, right? Hashem is making everything so that we lazy Americans, we're gonna do it. So let's really understand that this is really the step we have to do to really enjoy prayer. The first step is get to understand just the simple meaning of what you're saying. And again, we were at the beginning of the ladder. Like, I can give you a shiur for 3 hours on Kabbalistic meaning on the Tefilah, right? And I'm on the beginner level, So here you have a book that's written by prophets. It's a code. It's the most Kabbalistic book. Every word, every paragraph, every psukim and psalm is arranged in a certain way, so that when you say it, it affects the entire world. So what I want to do in the future, we're going to stop because I don't want to go over time. What I want to do in the future is to study, the basic meaning of the different parts of prayer, the structure. Okay. so that we understand why we're saying this before this or this before this. We're going to study a bit the meaning of certain things, like, sometimes we say we're kadosh. We say, Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh. What's kadosh? Sometimes we say kadosh, holy. Holy is an English word. Kadosh doesn't mean holy. We translate, there's a lot of separate, but not always, because if you want to be kadosh with your wife, so you're never going to be with your wife. Right? So we have to understand what kadosh is. So every word has a specific meaning. Echad. What does echad mean? It's one. It's one, or unity. Get it? So to define certain words, and all the things that I'm gonna teach you is also how you can use your imagination for prayer. I'm doing a Siddur, an entire Siddur. I'm working on a Siddur project for actually the past few years. And I'm about to finish the basic structure, and it's based on the Siddur Yavetz, the Rabbi Yaakov Emden, who was one of the few known Ashkenaz Kabbalists, who wrote a whole Siddur based on the Bet HaMikdash. And basically every part of davening is connected to one part of the Bet HaMikdash. And as you move through davening, he tells you, and now you are in this place of the Bet HaMikdash, and now you're in this place. And the prayer corresponds to the place of the Bet HaMikdash, and therefore it has an entire new meaning. And you see how everything relates and how you're going from step to next step until you reach the Holy of Holies. You don't have to be a Kohen Gadol to go in the Holy of Holies today. You can be a simple Jew and 3 times a day go in the Holy of Holies. That's pretty cool. So, again, there are many ways to use your imagination in a very holy way, in a way that makes your prayer completely different than what you would expect. Plus, we're going to learn also how to use it as a meditation. Again, meditation is not a Goyish stuff. It is a Jewish stuff. They took it from us, so to speak. Avram was the greatest meditator in the world. He wrote a book called, or at least taught the book called Sefer Yetzirah, right? Sefer Yetzirah is, even the greatest Kabbalists, they barely understand what it is. It's code and meditation of God's name, and you fly in the air. It's all the secret of creation. So that's Avraham Avinu, our tate, our father, who started Judaism. He could look at the stars and tell you this is what's going to happen, and that's who Avraham Avinu was. So this is just a little bit of what Avraham Avinu, created, the whole Tefilah of Shacharit. So we have to really study the Siddur like a Gemara. It says the tools you do in Gemara or you do in Chumash. Why does it say ha'ele and not just ele? An extra hey here. Now, why do you do that just for Chumash or Gemara? The Gemara is a tool, the way how to think, how to analyze everything. And one of the first things you should start analyzing is your Siddur. The Siddur has to be like a Chumash, like a Gemara, because it was made by prophets. Everything rearranged in a certain way for you to discover how to talk to God. Like if you would go to an interview, or say you can go to meet the President of the United States, right? Not that it's something very chashuv today, but I say, someone chashuv. Let's say you go to the President of the United States, even if it's Trump, you're still you go into that the White House, and then he has the big chair there, and you're gonna. So how are you gonna stand like? How are you gonna say? You say hello. You're gonna say it 10 times like, hello, sir. Hello, Mr. President. Like, you're going to practice, rehearse, like, what are you going to say? And you're going to say 10 times the speech, you're going to say the exact word. So, the Siddur teaches you how you're going to come to God and speak to God in a way that He's going to want to listen to you. He's God. I mean, one of the things we're going to learn also is how do you relate to God? Because on one plate it says Avinu, our Father. Another place says Malkeinu, our King. Now, you don't speak to a father like you speak to a king. On your father, you're like, oh, give me a hug. You know, if you try to give a hug to the king, you'll have the sword here before you can touch him. What are you doing, sir? Out of your mind? So, how do we talk to God in a way that is real? The Siddur, and we'll conclude with that, the goal of prayer is to make God very, very real. Let's stop making jokes. Yeah, God is here, God is there, God is very aware, and then we put our finger in our nose, and we check out the girls there, and we take a cheeseburger there. If God is here, you won't do any of that stuff. You won't even think of that. You have the King of the world standing next to you. I catch myself sometimes. I'm learning a Gemara or Chumash, and I go like that on my couch, you know, Shabbos, a guitar. If God is God, and it's really here next to you, you wouldn't be like that. It's God in the room, you know. Hey God! No, you wouldn't do that. You'll be like that. That's why there are certain rabbis who are very on the level of really feeling God, and they dress, you know, they teach with a hat, they teach with a jacket, or they I didn't do it because of that, but one day, maybe another day. But yeah, you act differently. You will even shave for God. You become presentable. Or if you hold that you shouldn't shave, then you won't shave for God. But you understand? It's how real do we make it? The way you walk in the street. Is that how you walk in the street? Right? The more of a Talmid Chacham you have, the more you have to put the head down. You don't think, I'm better than others. I know a lot of Torah. Oh, careful. God gives you your IQ. You didn't make your IQ. God gave it to you. The moment you think, I'm the IQ guy, I'm Einstein, and you're greater than others, God can make you head concussion and you forget everything in a second. So, right? So God is real. And so, Bezat Hashem, I hope it inspired you to want to learn more and to want to discover the secrets of the Siddur and to really get excited. Again, if you pray and your prayer is successful, meaning you feel good about prayer, you connect to your prayer, your whole day is different. I speak from personal experience. And if you don't connect, you just go through your day, and then it's like another mitzvah you do, and then you don't connect. But that's the essential thing, one of the 3 pillars. And if we do that the right way, your whole life is going to change. You're going to learn how to pray. You're going to have learned how to relate to God, understand how to have your prayers answered, understand how to meditate, and it's going to be awesome. And you're going to be running to shul.
Amen.
Any questions? My pleasure.